reference to the film we just saw?
What movie did we just see?
A Pixar film, Inside Out.
Inside Out!
Yay! It was all about the joy, wasn't it?
So, do you say see it or don't see it?
Oh, definitely. See it.
I say see it too!
See it many times. It's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell it was made by the people who made Toy Story. So
yeah,
it
seemed like a natural evolution from the idea of Toy Story to go from child's playthings that are an extension of his imagination to just go into the head of a kid and see how her inner life is.
Yeah, but it tells a lot to say about the human condition, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it presents it in a really simplified way so that it's tangible to children and adults alike.
Simple in a way, but complex in a way, too.
Yeah, simple structure so they can play around and get more complex ideas out of it.
Yeah, they did a great job. And they're so savvy. I just really like that.
Yeah, it's a really playful movie, too. I liked how you could definitely see that there was an exuberance in just playing with all these ideas and seeing how far you could push the material.
While yet still remaining, a kid's movie, which
yeah,
it did.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of really cool things in it. Like, a lot of details were really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that Amy Poehler's character, the Joy character, really carried the movie well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like someone who's got to embody joy could get really annoying real quick, but Poehler found the right way to make the character exhilarating and engaging, and she never started to wear on your nerves.
No, not at all. I always just thought that's our human drive to stay happy no matter what happens to us. That's a very sweet thing to be.
Yeah, as a primary human motivator, it's effortlessly made the point that that's what life is worth living for, and it made it tangible. Like as a viewer, you felt it.
Yeah, and who would imagine you could do that? And even like the what so-called negative emotions, they were likable too in a way.
Yeah, everyone was engaging, all the major 5 characters.
Yeah, because you always knew that everything they did, no matter how strange, was to keep that little girl going. And there's a funny line about it in the beginning of the movie where the anxiety character goes,
Fear, yeah.
He goes, we had a great day. We are still alive.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Keep this kid alive. Keep her going.
Yeah, Lewis Black, his anger is perfect too.
Yeah,
He's just the perfect incarnation.
Yeah, and he's always like righteous indignation, and when he does his comic routine. So then when he does it as this character, it kind of goes over to that because you kind of boil with rage with him at the injustices.
I can't really think of a movie that just had such a level of fun and playfulness that was so infectious. The joy, if you'll pardon the pun, of making the film just spilled over immediately to the audience. So that was really the most wonderful part of it for me.
Yeah, it's like what you want that kind of movie to do and how you want it to be, as opposed to how often it just falls flat. Because they didn't hit too many wrong marks. I don't think.
Yeah, I thought it was really touching too how Joy was essentially like an older sister figure who really loved Riley, the girl that she was in charge of making happy. Her love for her, even though obviously she's a figurative figure in the context of the film, but still the emotion she displays was really carried the film as well.
Yeah, it was all about that. I mean, it was like inside Riley's head, and Riley was everybody's focus, but it wasn't like, but since she was a little girl, it wasn't like, oh, this is like an egomaniac or something, But then they got inside the heads of other people too. But her parents, it's all comic. Every time they go into someone's head, we have the 5 basic same characters, their version of it.
Yep.
It's always humorous. There's something just absurd about the notion that we all identify with, I think,
Yeah, and I thought, they really did a good job of ultimately having the Bing Bong character of Riley's imaginary friend to have that same sort of love for the main character too, and that really resonated as well.
Yeah, I think everything did. I didn't find any fault with it. I would just definitely recommend it for one of those whole family things.
Yeah, I mean it was great. If I was going to nitpick, I would say, the material is so interesting in a way of kind of making all the implicit human states explicit, and you could take that idea so far. And sometimes it did feel like they were coming up under the restrictions of a children's film, and usually they got around that. But we'll talk about later in the spoiler zone. But you could do so many beautiful visuals, and sometimes I felt like it was just hampered by the need to have like this amusement park kind of mentality because it was a child's film.
Yeah, maybe they'll make an adult version or something. That would be fun.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah, they could do a lot of things with this
exactly.
material. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
once you break it down to the basic idea, you can really take it far.
go and have a good time, enjoy it.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts is when they try to get to Imagination Land and you get up getting stuck in the danger zone in between, and how they move through the 4 levels of abstraction. I thought that was a really gutsy little thing to put in a child's film, and I thought it was really well executed and fun. How it went from Picasso to a more basic kind of cubic structure, then to 2 dimensions, and then they just were little lines like moving out the door. Sometimes I felt like there was a little bit too much narrative exposition as far as the characters telling the audience like what part of the
brain,
part of the mind that they were in. But
but the part I liked the most, I think probably my favorite part was when they were doing the dream sequence and they were like in a movie studio, and it was like, there was a director, and then there was people, and then like anxiety was watching, or the fear dude was watching it, and he was being very critical about it.
Yeah, there were so many great little ideas like that, like the filter that turned those basic dream blobs into like figures from Riley's daily life.
Oh yeah, or like when they went into the deep basement of her subconscious and woke up the evil clown that scared everybody.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to say that they did well, because obviously, there's always the subconscious, which has to deal with like intrinsic fears, and the way they straddled the line of like trying to deal with that and still make it a child's movie, I thought was really well done with the scary clown in the basement.
It's just there's just that was really good, and it just helps deal with those issues, I think.
Yeah, I really like the character of Bing Bong, and I'll put up the name of the actor who did the voice of him, but I thought he was a really nice little element thrown into the film, and how they handled that character was really well done.
Yeah, the imaginary friend that was kind of left. He had been lost, and then he was found again by Joy when she got kind of lost in the mind.
Yeah, I thought that was so well done. How he was lost in the forgotten pit with Joy, and how they dealt with the idea of letting go of an imaginary friend, but also tied it seamlessly into the progression of the plot. And again, of how him like expressing his joy for Riley, or love for Riley, just really worked well.
Yeah, there's another thing that was really cracked me up was for the movies, the dream sequence was when they were like doing the movie, the dream, and the dream was kind of boring, and there was like the unicorn, and she was doing her lines, and everybody was just sort of yawning, and then the clown kind of breaks it all up with his hammer and his scariness, and it was just ridiculous, It just really made me laugh.
Yeah, it was really good. Just all the little gags, just all the ways they played with the ideas. It would be impossible to go over all of them, but they're all that make the movie that much more worth watching.
Yeah, and just the amazing way that Amy Poehler's character carried it all. She was like this beam of sunshine through it all, but not in a corny, bad way.
Yeah, it's weird because like you were literally dealing with a one-dimensional idea by having someone just be one emotion, but she was able to make it engaging, and it didn't like start to grind or feel redundant, which was really an accomplishment. And same with all the major 5 emotion actors.
Yeah, and like the sadness, they found a way to say, "Wow, we need that emotion too."
Yeah, that was interesting because usually there's such a pressure on children's films to not have any negative connotation at all, but they managed to integrate sadness and make that part of the plot. That was well done. How sadness is just not the idea that it's there to tie us back into our emotional state instead of losing all emotional connection.
Yeah, because at the first, the other emotions are trying to contain her.
Right.
And finally, they learn that she has a purpose, and that purpose is also to get other people to connect with you.
Yeah, and just how they did that without being pedantic, and how they actually made it integral to the plot.
Yeah, because when I was at the beginning of the movie, I was thinking, why don't they just like find a closet and shove her into it?
Yeah.
Because she was so a drag. But then they find a purpose for her, and you realize that maybe we do. There is a purpose for us being sad sometimes. It keeps us human or something. It connects us to other people's sadness.
I mean, if it didn't have a function, we wouldn't have it. So obviously, it's there for a reason. And like obviously, in actual life, you can think of all sorts of reasons we have it. But making it work within the structure of a children's film, I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, they really did. All of it was all thought out. It was all acted. Everything was good. So we can't say a high enough praise about this movie. It's the best. This has been a good summer for movies.
I also liked it was pretty subtle, but they some of the set design in the film was made to look like a brain, like you could tell, like the elaborate weavings of the long-term memory, and then like the cliff sides kind of looked like dendrites, and there were just a lot of little subtle things put in that I thought worked really well.
I remember thinking to myself, is that the medulla oblongata?
Yeah.
Because they were like kind of like organic structures that look like parts of the brain, so you think, that's it. But then there was this funny thing too, where there was all kind of bureaucratic in a way, because it was like there were manuals to read, and they had their jobs to do.
Yep.
So it was that too, and So that was strange. Oh yeah, and the part where they got rid of old memories was just cracked me up because
Yeah, that was a really funny sequence with the
janitor.
the custodians coming in and cleaning it up.
And then what they kept, what they threw out, it was just kind of ridiculous because
it was good.
How did what is the process by which we remember or forget stuff? It's kind of a mystery,
Yeah, well, they imagine it's just whatever gets paid attention gets to stick around, but.
Yeah, but it's like that jingle. They had this ongoing gag about the jingle for chewing gum, and it's not necessary to show serves no purpose, but it's there in your head, like some jingle from your childhood,
Yep.
So that was funny too, and really they used it cleverly.
Oh, a little aside, the beams falling apart from the main tower gave maybe Robbie a little bit of the Stephen King Dark Tower series. So really? I'm sure that was not their intent, but that was...
Well, because the clown, too, it was like the It clown.
I get, right, yeah, I guess so Stephen King permeates.
I can't say enough praise for this movie. I just think you should... I think everyone should see it just because it does kind of clarify certain things about our condition as human beings, about what we do.
Yeah, it's a fun format to kind of think of your own inner life and emotions.
And what's your, islands in your mind,
Yeah, who's running the show out of the 5 primary emotions.
Yeah. Because you want it to be joy, we should all strive for that, right? We want to be joyful. But I think a lot of us have let sadness take over, or maybe anger, so.
Yeah, that was an interesting little a touch with the parents when they go into the parents' head. That you could see that the primary person in charge of the mother was sadness, and it was anger in the dad's head.
Yeah, and that's probably what happens to adults. Either men tend to be more are allowed to be more angry, and women can be sad. So it's kind of maybe that.
Yeah. And of course, that was really well done in the credit sequence when they go into other people's heads.
I love that part.
Yeah. Again,
even animals. They did animals too.
Just gesturing to how far you can take this basic idea. Yeah. So there was a pretty implicit sequel there. So hopefully they'll do it and they'll just run with it as far as they can and explore every little pun they can make about the human mind.
They could do it with Riley as a teenager. That
I think that was the setup. Since they had the big puberty button at the end, that's
that's such a touchy subject too, though. Because
if anyone could handle it, gracefully, it would be Pixar. So
yeah, go for it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. Maybe in a couple of years, right?
We'll see.
Oh yeah, there was a weird little short in the beginning that neither one of us liked very
much.
About
don't go there for the short.
The main thing to remember is this is a great movie up there with Toy Story 3.
Yeah,
as good as that.
As much depth as Toy Story 3 had, this was just so playful and enjoyable and infectiously fun.
Yeah, and it has something important to say about the human condition.
Yeah. And it did it seemingly effortlessly, although obviously a ton of effort went into it.
Yeah, like the best art, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
All right, see you next time. Adios.
Adios.